Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. My name is Callum Hart, and for most of my life I believed I was the kind of man bad things simply didn't happen to. Not because I was lucky, but because I worked hard, loved gently, and trusted fully. My wife, Marley, used to say I had a calmness that made her feel safe. Like the world could shake, but I wouldn't move. Maybe that was true once, before everything cracked in a single afternoon. It was a Thursday, ordinary, quiet, harmless. I was finishing up some paperwork at home when my phone buzzed. The message preview was short, almost playful, as if she were texting something casual like, "Don't forget milk," or "Dinner at 7?" Instead, it said, "Going on a trip with my boss. Be back Sunday." At first, I genuinely thought she sent it to the wrong person. Marley didn't travel for work, not overnight, and definitely not with just her boss. She worked in a marketing office, the kind with group meetings, messy whiteboards, and too many snack breaks. Her boss, Jasper Lane, was the type of man who owned too many scarves and spoke about coffee like it was a religion. So I texted her back, "Trip? Since when?" She didn't reply. 1 minute passed, then 2, then 5. I called her. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. By the 10th minute, something inside me, something fragile and old, gave a sharp twist. Not panic, not jealousy, just clarity. Clarity that something had been off for months. I just hadn't wanted to admit it. Marley had become distant in small, quiet ways. She used to tuck her head against my shoulder on the couch. Lately, she sat at the far end scrolling her phone like I was background noise. She used to kiss me goodbye every morning. Recently, she rushed out with her hair half done and coffee in hand, muttering something about meetings. But the biggest change? She stopped laughing with me. People don't realize how big of a wound that is, the silence where laughter used to live. I stared at that message again. Going on a trip with my boss. Not we're, not the team, not the office. Just her. And him. If she had added even one extra detail, company retreat or team workshop, I might have let it go. But she didn't, because she didn't care to. 10 minutes after her text, while she was probably tossing bags into Jasper Lane's pretentious hybrid car, I opened my laptop and logged into our shared cloud account. Marley had forgotten one thing. She auto-synced her photos. Always had. And there they were. Pictures she must have taken earlier that morning. Marley in a hotel lobby, holding her phone up, smiling. Marley taking a mirror selfie in a room I didn't recognize. Marley standing beside Jasper, who was holding 2 travel-sized champagne bottles, both of them grinning like they were celebrating something forbidden. A softness I hadn't felt in months lit her face, only it wasn't lit for me. I closed the laptop gently, because anger wasn't what hit me. It was grief, old and heavy, settling on my shoulders like a coat I didn't want but suddenly recognized. Then another thought slid in. If this had been going on, what else had she hidden? I opened our shared bank account. Marley had made several purchases over the past few weeks. Spa appointments, new dresses, fancy makeup brands she never used before, and a 2-night hotel reservation under her personal card but using her married name Marley Hart, which meant the booking still synced in our travel inbox. She wasn't even trying to hide it well. Not because she was careless, but because she assumed I'd never look. Because she assumed I'd never leave. I sat there for a long moment, letting that sink in. Marley believed she could walk all over the quiet man who didn't raise his voice. She mistook gentleness for weakness, loyalty for blindness. 10 minutes had passed since her first message. 10 minutes since the last version of my life existed. I stood up, grabbed a folder, and opened the drawer where we kept important documents. Marriage certificate, insurance forms, house papers, joint tax files, and then I saw it, a sealed envelope with my name in her handwriting. At first I thought my heart would stop. I opened it slowly, expecting a confession, or an apology, or maybe a plea for space. But it was none of those. Inside was a printed list, her handwriting in the margins, titled, "Things I Want to Talk About Before Our Anniversary." I had never seen it before, and the notes were cold, brutally honest, and dripping with detachment. We feel more like roommates. I don't feel sparks anymore. I need excitement. Jasper says I'm wasting my potential. Callum is predictable. Too safe. My name. Predictable. Like being stable was a flaw. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't crack. I simply folded the list back into the envelope and set it aside. If she wanted danger, unpredictability, chaos, she was about to get all three. Just not in the way she expected. Because in the next hour, Marley's life wasn't the only thing that was going to change. It was going to collapse. Not through revenge. Not through screaming. But through truth. The one thing she underestimated the most. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't slam doors. I didn't call anyone for advice. Instead, I sat down at the kitchen table. The same table where Marley and I used to eat late-night pancakes, and opened my email. First, I contacted our attorney, the same one who handled our house closing 3 years ago. Kept it short. I'd like to initiate proceedings to dissolve my marriage. Please begin with separation paperwork and asset protection steps immediately. Then I added, all communication regarding this matter should be directed to me only. My wife is currently traveling without my knowledge. I didn't send it with anger. I sent it with finality. Next, I changed the password for our shared cloud storage. She had synced everything there, and if she didn't respect me enough to tell the truth, she didn't deserve access to the life she had been documenting without me. Finally, I drafted one last message, just one, to Marley. Received your text. Handle whatever you need to. When you return, we'll discuss moving forward separately. No accusations. No dramatics. I didn't give her the performance she expected. She wanted explosions. I gave her silence. An hour later, I left the house and drove to my sister Alara's place. My best friend since childhood, and the only person I trusted enough to speak plainly to. When she opened the door, she took one look at me and said, Callum, what happened? I told her everything. Not dramatically, not with tears, just with the numb, steady honesty of a man who had been holding up a collapsing ceiling for far too long. Alara listened quietly, her arms folded, her jaw tense. That woman is reckless, she finally said. And arrogant. She thinks you'll wait for her forever. I shrugged. She thinks I won't react at all. Alara looked at me with a softness only siblings understand. Well, you just did. I stayed at her place that night. Not because I was heartbroken in the way movies show, crying on a couch or punching pillows, but because the house I had built with Marley suddenly didn't feel like home. It felt like a place I'd been slowly replaced in, one small detail at a time. The next morning, I woke to 6 missed calls from Marley and 3 texts. Why did you lock me out of the cloud? Callum? What's going on? Please answer me. I didn't respond. I waited. By afternoon, she sent a longer message. Callum, the trip was for work. I told you last week. Jasper felt I should come because I'm leading the new campaign. You're overreacting. Overreacting. The word stung because it was precisely what she used whenever she didn't want to take responsibility. But she had never said anything about a trip. And certainly not one-on-one with a man who used compliments like fishing hooks. Then, 2 hours later, another message arrived. Why are you being like this? I saw your email to the lawyer. You can't be serious. That one made my chest tighten. Not because she was hurt, but because she called my decision being like this. As if it was a mood, not a response to betrayal she didn't even bother denying. Still, I said nothing. By the time she returned Sunday afternoon, she was furious. She stormed into Alara's house without knocking. Alara nearly threw her back down the steps and demanded to talk to me. Callum, what is wrong with you? She shouted. You're acting like I cheated. I looked at her calmly. Did you? She froze. Not in guilt, she was too proud for that, but in indignation. I went on a work trip with my boss, she insisted. That doesn't mean anything happened. You're jumping to insane conclusions. Did you tell me about the trip? I thought I did. Maybe you forgot. No, I never forgot her voice, not once in 7 years. She was lying, and every twitch in her face gave her away. I took out the envelope she had written weeks before, the list she'd planned to discuss before our anniversary. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I simply handed it to her. Her face changed, slowly, draining of color, of confidence. "You went through my things?" she whispered. "You wrote it about our marriage," I replied. "You didn't think I deserved to know how you felt?" She swallowed hard, her eyes flickering with something like panic. I was sorting my thoughts," she murmured. "It doesn't mean those things are true. But they were true enough for you to write." She opened her mouth but said nothing. And then, quietly, almost accidentally, she confessed the one thing she shouldn't have. "Jasper just listens. He makes me feel like I'm still exciting." There it was. Not the action, but the intention. The door she had opened long before she packed a suitcase. I nodded slowly. "I'm glad he makes you feel that way, because you're going to need someone by your side when this is over." Her breath hitched. "Callum, no. You don't mean that." "I mean every word," I said gently. "I'm done being the safe place you abandon for a thrill." She stepped closer, reaching for my hand, but I stepped back. Her voice cracked for the first time. "Please, Callum, don't do this. I made a mistake." I was confused, but her confusion had clarity. Her choices had consequences, and her trip had already broken the fragile thread between us. "I wish you the best," I said quietly. "Truly. But you destroyed something I can't rebuild." Her tears fell then. Not soft, not graceful, but panicked, because she finally understood. Gentle men don't stay gentle when they've been taken for granted. They become honest. And honesty can level a life faster than rage ever could.